The award-winning News 10 is next, only on Channel 10, WALA-TV Mobile. And now, from your live news leader, this is the News 10 Early Edition.
It was a violent end to a high-speed chase. Police shot a robbery suspect after he fled at more than 100 miles an hour in another officer's patrol car. Good evening, everyone. I'm Nancy Pierce. Bob Grip has the night off. That robbery suspect is in stable condition tonight at the USA Medical Center after being shot 3 times by police. Here's how police tell the story. Police shot 29-year-old Harold Jones as he approached them in a threatening manner. This after a chase in which he drove a stolen patrol car in excess of 100 miles an hour. Police say Jones took the car after beating and trying to drown Officer Phil Snodgrass, Jr. Snodgrass had stopped Jones as a suspect in a robbery at the Ramada Inn. While the two scuffled, a woman with Jones drove off in his car. Jones then took the patrol car. Now, Officer Snodgrass was taken to Spring Hill Memorial Hospital with a broken nose. He was released today. Now, last night's incident raises some questions about when officers are allowed to use deadly force. Tonight, Lance Williams tells us what the rules are and if they appear to have been followed last night. Lance, what did you find out?
Well, Nancy, what happened last night is something that most officers certainly want to avoid, but sometimes it is unavoidable. And tonight, we take a closer look at what happened and if it was one of those cases of justifiable force.
Harold Jones was shot by Mobile police after he reportedly threatened 2 officers. It was Officer Phil Snodgrass who first arrested Jones at the Ramada Inn after a holdup. There was a struggle and Snodgrass ended up in the hospital with a broken nose and bruises. Officer Snodgrass is doing fine tonight, but last night's incident is a good example of the tough reality that every officer on the force has to face. Take someone else's life or have them take yours. Officers like Tony Wally face that possibility every day they're on the job.
You didn't think you could take somebody's life in protecting someone else or yourself, and you're in the wrong profession.
Even though it's not an easy thing to do.
No, it's not an easy thing to do.
Last night's shooting is one of several incidents in the last 2 years where officers have fired on suspected criminals. In those circumstances, police are required to follow these guidelines. Quote, the use of deadly force shall be limited to those situations where the use of deadly force is necessary to prevent death or serious bodily harm to the police officer or another person.
Now, according to our reports from the police department, the 2 officers who shot did act within the department's guidelines. However, a routine investigation is expected to ensure that proper procedures were followed. Nancy?
Now, you mentioned a woman being involved in a holdup. Any leads there?
Right. They do believe that a woman was involved in the initial holdup out at the Ramada Inn at the airport. The police do believe they know who the woman is. They are looking for her. They aren't sure that it's going to be very easy to find her tonight.
All right. Thank you, Lance. Well, the FBI is conducting an investigation into the Conecuh County Sheriff's Department. FBI officials report a variety of activities have led to the probe, including alleged arson, mail fraud, and civil rights violations. Sheriff Edwin Booker says he is unaware of the investigation. Prosecutors are pushing for the stiffest sentence possible for a 3-time convicted murderer. Yesterday, Rodney Connolly was convicted for having his former girlfriend killed. Today, Connolly was supposed to be sentenced, but the judge rescheduled the sentencing when prosecutors said they need more time to look into Connolly's background. They want Connolly to get life in prison without parole. Well, there was trouble for drivers on the causeway this morning. High water and debris are to blame for a traffic jam. Work crews cleaned the closed eastbound lane during rush hour. Traffic was back to normal shortly after noon. Now, high winds caused problems today along Scenic 98. Winds apparently blew down part of a giant oak tree in the parking lot of Judge Roy Beans, a local club. The tree knocked down the power lines, but only a few people lost phone service. Now, further down Scenic 98 in Montrose, power crews were busy with several small electrical outages caused by fallen limbs. And this hole washed out last Thursday on 98 did not appear to have gotten any larger, indicating today's damage was caused by wind and not water. Well, too much rain is also creating a nightmare for farmers trying to harvest their crops. As Baldwin County reporter Alan Green tells us, the farmers are ready to chant, rain, rain, go away.
They were shipping potatoes today at Lipscomb Farms, but these potatoes were dug up before the latest rains hit. Many potato farmers aren't so fortunate. Doug Lipscomb says there's $1 million worth of potatoes still in the muddy ground, and time's running out.
What's happened is the vines have died on the potatoes, and you just have so many days before they'll start rotting in the ground. And this rain, under wet conditions, they'll break down quicker than if it was dry.
Some potatoes are already rotting, and the percentage is going up. Lipscomb says he normally loses 50 pounds of rotten potatoes per trailer load. Today, he was losing 500 to 600 pounds per load. Things are not good in the cornfield either. The rain also has things at a standstill there. Growers have only 3 days to harvest sweet corn once it's ripe, so it's a race against time here too. Last week's storm caused other problems when it blew some corn down. That put it into shock, and the rootless plants started feeding off the ears. These little shriveled up kernels are the result. Now the corn's still perfectly good, but when it has this, it's not considered select, and the grade of the corn and the price the farmer gets for it goes down. Produce markets in Baldwin County are feeling the effect. They're having a hard time right now getting fresh corn, and that could eventually send prices up. In Loxley, Alan Green, News 10.
Now, the rain also has soybean farmers concerned. It's delaying them in planting their crop. As the News 10 Early Edition continues, we'll tell you about a couple of well-known residents who are about to become a couple. And Consumer Watch reporter Ann Reynolds reports on some high-tech home video equipment for those of us with low-tech skills. Alabama's Attorney General is going to bat for hundreds of state customers who have auto policies with Champion Insurance. Don Siegelman is in Louisiana, where liquidation of the insurance company is going on. Siegelman says he wants to make sure Alabama customers get a fair deal. Meanwhile, the court-appointed official overseeing the liquidation is wading through 3 truckloads of Champion Insurance records seized by the Attorney General's office. Well, consumers shopping for video cameras have a lot to choose from nowadays. The demand is high for easy-to-use equipment. As Ann Reynolds tells us, it's hard to find households without one.
When tornadoes ripped through the Gulf Coast last week, these pictures you saw of the twisters came from home video cameras. Many people are finding out you don't have to be Steven Spielberg nowadays to operate a camcorder. New technology has made it simple for Anita Mims to videotape her grandchildren.
And when we can see them as they were babies and what they are now, how they have grown, is wonderful, really wonderful.
Now, most manufacturers know smaller is better. For example, the pocket cameras are big sellers. The bigger models are left to the professionals. And smaller doesn't mean you have to sacrifice on the extras. Sony now has the smallest and lightest camcorder. It's called the Handycam. It weighs only 1.5 pounds and uses 8mm tape. But it has all the features like playback, power zoom, and extra light filters. Amy Walton is planning on buying one to record the newest member of her family.
For our baby to grow, it's fun to watch, have that recording as they grow, because they grow so fast.
Robert Lawrence wants one, but
my father-in-law has one, and he videoed our wedding and videos of parties and everything, but that's most of the experience I have. I'd like to buy one day, but I can't afford it right now.
That's the big problem. No matter how small the cameras get, most models will cost you anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 a piece. In Mobile, Ann Reynolds, News 10.
Now, more video news. Later this year, all you VCR nuts can buy a dual-deck VCR that has a second tape compartment for dubbing. Now, that should make VCR owners happy, and there's also good news tonight for the University of South Alabama. USA and 3 other universities have come up with a settlement in a long-running desegregation suit against all Alabama schools. The new federal judge in the case has given the settlement his stamp of approval. Now, it calls for the schools to increase minority faculty, staff, and students. Administrators and supervisors from 6 area counties gathered at the University of South Alabama today for the first annual Educational Leadership Conference. 150 educators attended the session, focused on Together We Learn and Grow. 2 people well known in the Mobile County public school system are tying the knot this weekend. Former school board president Judy McCain and school commissioner Steve Belk are getting married in Orange Beach on Saturday. Will we have to put up with more of this battering weather this weekend? Rob Roblin is up next with his weekend forecast. Stay with us. Well, Rob has just given me some interesting news about, yes, a tropical depression.
Yeah, there's one in the Gulf of Mexico. We're not expecting it to increase any, but you have to watch them when they're that close. A huge area of clouds down there, 275 miles east of Tampico. I'll show you right exactly where it is on the satellite in a few minutes. But let's first of all talk about that rain today. And let me tell you, especially over in Baldwin County, some very strong thunderstorms over there. Wind gust over 55 miles per hour.
Causing lots of problems.
Lots of problems. Lots of tree limbs down and all kinds of problems, and a good soaking, too. Right now, we've still got a little bit of rain with the temperature 74, humidity 93%. Winds are out of the south at 5, and the pressure 29.85 and rising. The first tropical depression of the year. Let us look at it on the satellite. And folks, there it is right in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, right down there. It's a tropical depression up and down this warm front, stationary front, and cold front. We'll have to watch it. We do not anticipate it increasing any whatsoever. Maximum winds now 35 miles per area. But you can see the Gulf of Mexico is practically full of clouds, and that's basically what is happening now. It's the first formation of the tropical depression, and of course, as always, we will continue to look at it and track it for you. Right now, nothing to worry about. Now, here's that low-pressure system that gave us all the rain. Now, let's go to the live local radar and take a look at what's going on. Still some rain in Mobile, and you can see lots of rain going all the way over into Pensacola. Really no heavy thunderstorms associated with it right now. Just a few out in the Gulf of Mexico, but most of it is a steady, light rain. But you can see good things are coming, because back in Mississippi, still got some clouds, but it is clearing, and by tomorrow, some clear skies and some sunshine will be moving in. Let's take a wider view as we look at the U.S. radar, and you can see back in Louisiana, clear skies back there. And this area of precipitation, we're not the only ones to get lots of rain and thunderstorms. You can see moving through Georgia, North and South Carolina, and they've had some damage there, too, because of the thunderstorms, and even a few funnel clouds were sighted. So the area is out of here. As the night goes on, the rain will move on out. Today's high only 76, the low 71. Record high for this date 101. That was set in 1952, and the record low of 60 was set in 1913. Sun will rise in the morning at 5:50. It will set tomorrow evening 7:57. 1.15 inches of rain officially out at the airport, but some people got more than that. The water temperature 82 degrees. Tomorrow's map, let's take a look. Going to be a pretty nice day tomorrow. That front's going to be still hanging around. We might have a few thunderstorms, very, very few tomorrow afternoon. The weekend, you ask. Well, everything hinges on that tropical depression. The way it looks right now with the depression breaking up, it looks like we're going to have plenty of sunshine on Saturday, a nice day, but thunderstorms way to the east of us, and then on Sunday, sunshine also. But I want to preface the weekend forecast. A lot has to do with that depression, what happens if it breaks up or it stays to the south of us. The tides for tonight and tomorrow, we have a low tide at 9:56. Tonight, and then we have a high tide tomorrow at 10:43. They're the river stages at the Coffeyville Dam and the Alabama River at the Claiborne Dam. Boating forecast, small craft advisory in effect. The winds variable tomorrow, 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet. Forecast for tonight, mostly cloudy with rain ending by about an hour or two in the Mobile area, and some areas way to the west of it's already ended. If you go over in Pensacola, it won't be out of there till around 11 or 12, maybe even later than that tonight. Low of 68, and then tomorrow much nicer. Partly sunny skies, high of only 80, so cooler air, and then tomorrow night, ooh, well, actually very, very nice, 65 degrees. The next 5 days looking pretty good, as I mentioned, for the weekend. Of course, we'll have to watch that tropical depression to see what happens. By Sunday, look for a few thunderstorms and some clouds around on Monday and Tuesday, but right now the weekend is looking pretty good. Our weather picture comes from Kendrick Thomas, Palmer Penlands. Now, this is an excellent picture. All of them are good, but look at this. Look at the definition. This youngster has a future with art. You know, look at the sun of it. Isn't that amazing? It's like 3 or 4 dimensional. That's a very, very good. I think so. I'm no art critic, you know, but
I couldn't do that.
Well, no way I could, but very nice. Way to go. Kendrick Thomas. We'll watch for him.
Yeah, sounds like a good weekend, too. Good job, Rob.
Well, thanks. Talk to the boss and give me a raise. What do you think?
Eric McLendon's on deck with sports. Eric will tell us about a soggy U.S. Open and tell us why this star won't be shining in this weekend's Shrine All-Star Classic. Well, today was the NBA expansion draft, and of course there's some players who are left unprotected, like Terry Catledge with the Bullets, and it's got to be a real scary day for him if he wants to stay.
Got the answer to where he's going right here in my hot little hands. He's on his way. He's going to trade his Washington Bullets for a little Orlando Magic. One of the 2 NBA expansion teams. Of course, the other one was the Minnesota Timberwolves, but Terry's on his way to Orlando now. Yeah, it's kind of surprising there.
Maybe
we got
exciting,
also Reggie Theus is also leaving Atlanta, going to Orlando.
Whoa.
That's a big surprise, too. Biggie. On to golf now. And the rain-plagued first round of the U.S. Open in Rochester, New York. The damp conditions softened the course and slowed the normally fast greens, which actually might have helped the golfers today. Old Jack Nicklaus is still showing the young guys how it's done. Jack's 9-iron shot here on 13 was a doozy. Yes, indeed. It hits and rolls just past the cup. Nicklaus finished the day with a 3-under 67, one shot off the lead. Now, tied for the lead, Bernhard Langer. He had 8 birdies and 4 bogeys. As we go to the scoreboard, we can see Langer finishes with a 4-under 66, tied with Payne Stewart and J. Don Black. Jack Nicklaus is also at 1 shot back at 67, and Tom Kite, along with 3 other golfers, are also tied with a 67. The rosters for the Shrine All-Star Classic read like a who's who of high school football players. 70 of the nation's top linemen, receivers, and backs carry some better credentials than many college players. But as John Mastrina reports tonight, the most qualified Alabama All-Star won't be in uniform.
Big pocket. Emphasize the big pocket. As far as Alabama high school football goes, they are the best, the biggest, the fastest, the best. All of them playing on the same field. Well, almost all of them. Now, when you look at this Alabama All-Star team, there is one man conspicuously missing from the backfield.
Well, the decision was made five months ago. Lefty Anderson, the manager of the game, came over to Viger and asked me what I considered to play. But at that point in time, my knee wasn't in any condition to do anything, and I didn't know what condition it would be by the time this game came around. So I told him then that I wouldn't want to play.
Although he says the knee is fully healed, he is still on the outside looking in. Electron doesn't want to test it before he reports for his freshman year at Auburn.
I say the knee is about 100% right now. It feels great. I've been able to do a lot of the things I wasn't able to do this past year. I would say the knee is back where it was before I injured it in '87, and I'm very excited about this fall up at Auburn.
So Mr. Alabama football won't represent Alabama in his final chance as an All-Star. Electron has missed several big games because of the same knee he injured in the 1987 state championship game. He missed the '88 championship game. Now he regrets missing this All-Star game.
Well, yeah, at the beginning it was a lot of disappointment because these are supposed to be the best athletes, and I would like to prove myself to the best. I'm sure a lot of people like to know what condition my knee is in, but I'm playing it smart. I'm just taking it easy and watch the other guys play.
For now, he's content playing an All-Star spectator. In Mobile, John Mastrini, News 10 Sports.
If you want to see Saturday's game, there's still plenty of good seats available. You can buy the tickets at both Bel Air and Springdale Mall, as well as Ladd Stadium. Kickoff for the second annual Shriners All-Star Classic is at 7:30 on Saturday at Ladd Stadium, and we hope it doesn't rain. Now, it didn't rain on the Pistons parade today. The world champions were greeted by several thousand screaming fans in downtown Motown. Who says the bad boys? Well, who says they're bad? Mark Aguirre, well, he stops to smell the roses. Isn't that sweet? Those guys aren't bad boys, right? Anyway, the Pistons went on to win the
Yeah,
NBA.
I thought you were for the Lakers anyway.
Yeah, we don't.
Are you going to eat your words tonight
or
what?
We don't want to discuss that. But anyway, the Pistons will be without one player next year. Rick Mahorn was also picked up in the expansion draft. He's on his way to Minnesota, so they'll be without him. He's kind of got a bad back, but good player nonetheless.
Yeah.
And actually, the Braves won today. How about that?
They did?
Yeah.
Good deal.
Beat San Francisco.
All right.
Not
On the
bad.
News 10 job line, there's an opening for a lifeguard with 6 months experience. You must be certified. There's also an opening for a legal secretary with 12 months litigation experience. You must be able to type 70 words a minute. Now, if you're interested in these or other jobs on the News 10 job line, call 342-WORK in the morning, Monday through Friday. For this spring's heat, are you finding it hard to get into the swing of things? Well, just stick around, because in his Take 10 tonight, Randy Titano has what it takes to make you a swinger. Coming up tonight on the News 10 Nightcast, taking the war against drugs onto the roadways. We'll tell you about a proposal to randomly test truck drivers for drugs. And testing newborns for the AIDS virus. Health Watch reporter Susanna Showers has details. Finally tonight, there is practically nothing more relaxing than sitting on a porch swing at the end of a hard day. The problem is lying down in one. Most are simply too short. In tonight's Take 10, Randy Titano tells us about a man with a solution.
Chisty the cabinet maker is usually found building something beautiful in his Moffett Road shop. He builds antiques with modern tools and old-fashioned quality. Now, most of what he builds is made to order, but he might just have $1 million idea.
Sure, they come by and visit, look at it, see what it is. got a little sign up outside so that people coming by can know that it's here, sort of a tourist attraction.
Now, if you've ever tried to take a nap in a porch swing, you know the problem.
Now you see, that's not long enough. You need an 8-footer. Ah, just right.
So, with this great idea of the porch swing big enough to sleep on, Chesty is busy cranking them out, right?
You sold a lot of these?
None.
None.
Not a large demand for porch swings you can lay down in.
Why is that?
I guess not enough people know about it yet. It seems like it's a good idea, but you got to have a large tree to hang an 8-foot porch swing.
Okay, so most of his customers do want something traditional. If you've got a house full of antique furniture, you need one of these. But remember, it don't mean a thing if you ain't got that swing. Randy Titano, News 10.
And that's our news for now. Join us at 10.